Jesus, we believe. You're the source of life and peace. Come fill our thirsty souls. Let the river flow from our hearts out to the world. Lord, let it be outpoured. Oh, living water, living water, fill us up, fill us up. Living water, living water, flow from us, flow from us. Jesus, we believe. You're the Lord, Messiah, King. Refresh and bring us hope, Lord. Living water, living water, fill us up, Lord, fill us up. Living water, living water, flow from us, flow from us. Never, ever, ever thirst again. We can drink the power of His Spirit. And oh, never, ever, ever thirst again. We can drink the blessings of Your Spirit. We drink it in. We drink it in. Oh, we drink it in. Lord, we do. We drink it in. Oh, living water, living water, fill us up, God. Living water, living water, flow from us, Lord, flow from us. Oh, but never, ever, ever thirst again. We can drink the power of Your Spirit in Lord. Oh, never, ever, ever thirst again. We can drink the blessings of the Spirit in. Yes, we drink it in. We drink it in. All the blessings, all Your power. Oh yes, how we drink it in. Living water, living water, fill us up, fill us up. Living water, living water, flow from us, flow from us.
everyone, and welcome to Elijah Streams. It's Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. I'm Kelsey O'Malley, filling in for Steve Shultz. Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes is joining me on the program today. And the mainstream media is pumping out all this political chaos between Epstein Files, the exposure at the BBC. They want you to believe that this is just chaos. You're not supposed to know what to believe. You're supposed to be looking everywhere at everything. But what if I told you it was a controlled unraveling of a 150-year-old global financial system? Well, Dr. Jan is going to be speaking on that today and so much more. She's going to be touching a lot on Epstein as well. But before we get started with that, please help me welcome my favorite gold guy, Andrew Sorchini, as he gives us an update on what's going on with the precious metals market. Andrew, welcome back again. I was just with you not too long ago when I saw you're on the notes. I was like, yes, Andrew's on. We get to discuss more investments because I always learn so much whenever you're on. You're great at teaching about investing. And I kind of just want to start out with where are gold and silver currently sitting right now?
Oh, it's a good question. And thanks for having me back, Kelsey. It's always a pleasure. We're sitting at $4,135 for an ounce of gold and $51.24 for an ounce of silver.
Okay.
That 51.24 is huge because silver is holding above $50, which means that used to be our ceiling. Now it's our floor.
Awesome.
So we're really looking at taking a big run at $60 an ounce here pretty soon.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. So, what would you say to people who are watching today and they're like, okay, well, silver, you just said, is now at the ceiling. So, it's probably not a good time to invest. Is that the thought, or is it okay, it's only going to go up and up and up from here. You better get in now.
Yeah, we're not quite at the ceiling yet. So before $50 silver used to be the ceiling. Every time
Okay.
silver got to like $49 and change, it had a really hard time breaking through and
Okay.
would end up going down just a couple dollars below that. And now that we've managed to stay above 50, it's
Okay.
like now 50, if you're looking at if this is a ceiling and this is a floor, now it seems like we have a base of about 50
Oh,
and really it's holding well. So we're all likelihood that we're going to blow past $60 an ounce. And when you look at the prices of gold and silver now compared to where they've been just in the last 3 months,
mm-hmm.
they're both down about 7% from their all-time highs, which both occurred within the last 3 months.
Okay.
So it would be a great opportunity for people out there to buy the dip. It's perfect. Buy the dip. Why get in at the high when you can get in 7% lower than where it was just a matter of weeks ago?
I think when you invest in gold and silver, you're really happy when it goes up. Like, yes, I'm making money, but then you're also happy when it dips because it's a long-term investment, right? So you hold on to it for a while. And when it dips, well, this is a great time to get further in because you've seen that it's only increased in value over time, correct? Gold is
Yes.
always increased while the dollar has always decreased.
Absolutely. Those are some of the wisest words said by many of the most astute investors out there, which is like so gold hit $4,400 an ounce at one point, or just under it. So about $25 under it. So to see gold actually dip below $4,000 an ounce hurt for a minute there. But when you look at the opportunity that presents to be able to get in at the time 10% below the high, it's a good time to pile in. Even silver went to like $46 an ounce recently. So
Oh, wow.
it only did that for a short time and then shot right back above 50. That's why it's really established that $50 mark as the floor now.
Mhm.
And I feel that if you think that in your heart that silver is going to hit $100 an ounce sometime in the near future,
Mhm.
then getting in at these levels is a really, really great idea. And it's an excellent time for people to take a look at their investments right now because a lot of people have time when they're getting ready to fly on a plane to go somewhere for the Thanksgiving holiday, or if
Mhm.
you actually have some downtime where you're actually able to relax, you have from now until the end of the year to really kind of review your investments
Yep.
and take a look at your portfolio and see what changes need to be made.
Yeah, that's so good. Andrew, okay, so when it did dip for that time period, how long did it sit there? Just curious.
It was literally 10 days at the most, and it didn't
Okay.
sit at that low. It was bouncing around between $46 and $48.
Okay.
And for me, I take those opportunities to really load up on inventory. It's
Mhm.
very helpful. So if I got silver at say $47 an ounce, and then now it's up to like $51 an ounce, then that means that we've speculated as a company and made like $4 an ounce there, and we can offer a better deal to the clients when
Oh,
when we're
nice.
fulfilling orders. So we're not looking for our normal spread because we've already made a good chunk just on speculating.
So let's say it does dip again, and I want to immediately get in. What's the process look like with you? If I call and I'm like, okay, it's dipped. Today's the day I want to invest today. How long does that process take before I can actually purchase that silver or gold from you?
So you should go online and fill out the online form there, right at ElijahStreams.com/gold. You
Mhm.
can click on the link. It'll take you directly to our website. You can schedule a consultation. And when you fill out the online form and click submit, all of those come to me. So I'm the one that takes a look at each one of them. People oftentimes in the notes section will say, I'm looking to protect my 401k or my IRA with physical gold and silver. Please help me get started. So then I get that lead and I send it over to our retirement account department.
Mhm.
Other times people say, well, all of this is new to me, and really I'm on the educational phase of learning about this, and I want somebody that can answer all of my questions and be patient and not really try to hammer me into doing this like right now.
Mhm.
And I like to see that because it really helps me figure out which part of my team is going to be able to help you the best. So in the scenario that you mentioned, like what if silver drops a lot today? Like one day it dropped $2.50 an ounce, and one day a couple of weeks ago, we had people that said, I want to buy silver today. Or
Yeah, exactly.
put that in the notes section. Exactly that. And also for people that feel like maybe we're not getting back with you quick enough, it's okay to fill out the form again and say, hey, second request. I just want to make sure that I didn't get lost in the shuffle.
Mhm.
Oftentimes we'll get a web submission from somebody like late on Friday, and not everybody here is working over the weekend. So it might not get any attention until Monday morning. And then that person might feel a little bit ignored over the weekend. But if they're available on the weekend, just let us know and I'll have somebody else call you.
Okay, so what if I have an account with you already and we're already working together and I want to buy more silver like that day now? Is that process a little bit easier because we're already working together?
It is. So,
Okay.
so for myself, there are many clients that I've worked with myself where I'll receive a text at any time, like late at night, early in the
Okay.
morning, over the weekend, and I never mind it at all. And if they say, "Hey, I'm looking to buy some more gold or silver," I'll respond with an actual offer. Like,
Oh,
I'll
nice.
sometimes say, like, well, what dollar amount are you looking to protect with gold and silver right now? And they'll say, well, I have 20,000, and
Okay.
I'll say, well, do you want all silver, all gold, or are you unsure? And they'll tell me, and I'll text back answers, and we get it done that way. Most of the time we're not even on the phone. We're just we already have the relationship.
Yeah.
So it's more like done by text and email. And also for people that are already clients and you didn't work with me, you should have the telephone number of whoever you worked with here, and you can text them direct as well. And that's usually how we are able to take care of people very, very quickly, because it's much quicker than a brand new call with somebody that we're still getting to know each other. Maybe we don't know you yet and you don't know us yet. It just seems like a good idea for you to reach out. So
Mhm.
so yeah, it's the text method works really good.
Yeah, and that's wonderful because you're available for your clients when they're looking to purchase and be there. And I know you love it. So you're like, "Oh, okay, I got a text." And it helps when you love your job, right?
It does. It does. Even like today. So I've had a pretty busy morning where I have like this interview and then one right after it. And I had a client that said that sent me a text earlier. And worked with one of the other people on the sales team, but she said like, hey, I'm not sure that the exact silver coins that I'm getting are the ones that I should be, because one other company said you should have 1 ounce silver bars or 100 ounce silver bars, and she's buying the Elijah coins, the
Mhm.
1 ounce silver coins, the cup of water, and some of the General Flynn coins. And she just wanted to make sure that what she's getting is worth it. And I know she wants to speak with me and have me explain to her that it is good. but I just didn't have time yet. So I just texted her and said, I can speak with you before the end of the day about this. Just be patient with me, and I'll finish what I have to do in the first half, and then I will get with you before the end of the day. So we try to do it like that.
Okay, what's the difference between bars and coins and collectible pieces?
So oftentimes people think that if you were to get $10,000 worth of, say, silver bars,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or $10,000 worth of, say, 1 ounce silver Elijah coins,
Mm-hmm.
um, you would get less ounces for the Elijah coins than you would with the bars.
Mm-hmm.
So the bars are just so generic, okay, where you feel like if you can get more silver for $10,000 one way versus another way, that must be better. But it isn't always the case. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you get bullion, like the silver bars, and you go to sell it, if you went to your local cash for gold place or a coin shop in your neighborhood and you sell it, it's going to generate a 1099. So some people don't want to
Interesting.
be in the system that way. If you've
Okay.
got a semi-collectible coin, like the cup of water coin that we've made for ElijahStreams,
Mm-hmm.
that's one that actually falls into the semi-numismatic or semi-collectible category, which is exempt from broker reporting. So we're not required at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never knew that.
It's true. It's even the old coins, like people out there have invested in what we call junk silver, or it's also referred to as 90% silver. Those are the old dimes, quarters, and half dollars that used to circulate in our change. They're all dated 1964 and before. They've got a whole lot of silver in them, and those are exempt from broker reporting. And same with the old gold that used to circulate.
Oh, wow. That is so interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, yeah, and then furthermore, as far as projecting where gold and silver could go, I saw
Mm-hmm.
a really interesting article yesterday morning. The largest bank in Switzerland is UBS, and UBS now has raised the gold target with a prediction. They say that in the second quarter of 2026, that gold will be $4,900 an ounce. That's just,
Wow.
I mean, the second quarter begins what, 4 months from now,
That's
4.5
amazing.
months. So
Mm-hmm.
it is amazing, and the bank is really just kind of putting it out there that the state that the world is in and the amount of gold that's being bought up by the central banks, that it's likely going to push gold up that high. It's going to bring silver up with it. So that's probably how we get to 60 or 70 or even $75 an ounce silver. So I'm super excited to see what next year will bring. And even another story, one of the people that works for me recently moved to Dubai, and he's trying to immerse himself into the culture. And he was so they joined the country club where they live, and they play golf there. And they're
Mm-hmm.
listening to people at the table next to them talk about gold, and they're saying, "But gold is up a lot this year. Gold's moved from, it started the year at $2,800 an ounce, and it's currently at $4,100 an ounce. That's
Wow.
almost a 45% return." And
Yes.
the people at the table were saying that gold is likely to have a better 2026 than 2025. And I, for one, believe that. Of course, I hope it happens too. But it's, if gold does as well, silver is going to probably do just as well like it did this year. Silver actually did better than gold this year. So
Really?
yeah, so it's done it quietly because gold gets all the glory, but really silver is where it's at for the longer term hold. If you're willing to hold for years,
Mm-hmm.
silver can do really good for you.
Okay. Well, the projections of 2026 seem to be promising.
Yes.
And so it's smart to get in now and, of course, pray about it and, talk to Andrew and everything. But it just seems like such a great opportunity. It's like, this could be the smartest financial decision you do for all of 2025. We're wrapping up the year. It's dipped down now. They have their projections coming out, for 2026. So share with people how they can get involved. And I know you talked a little bit about emailing you, and can you go into a little further detail about that?
Yeah. So the best way is the form that we have on our website. So you can reach it through the web address that's on the screen there, and be diligent on how you fill it out. Put in your name, email address, and say that ElijahStreams sent you, and be as detailed as you can in the notes section. That's really where it's at. That's how you can get you the best help. So we have some people put things in there like, I bought gold 2 years ago from a different gold company They were willing to speak with me a lot before I gave them my money. And then after I received my gold and silver, I don't hear from them at all. And they're unwilling to help me and guide me. So if you're thinking about switching gold companies and you need just a little bit more guidance, then put that in there. You, as detailed as you can possibly be. That's how we've been able to help a lot of people.
Well, Andrew, it's looking good, I think, for next year. I'm excited always whenever you come on because, again, my husband and I are invested, and it's always good to know, hey, this is what the market's doing, and it's always nice to see a return on what you invest in. And so I encourage you who are watching, if you haven't done it before, if you want to do put some more into gold and silver, it's a great time to do that. And Andrew, we love having you on, and thank you for answering questions and being so available to your clients. It's wonderful. You are our favorite gold guy, for
Well,
sure.
thank you so much, and I certainly love talking to the people from ElijahStreams and getting to meet everyone that's part of the broadcast as well. So thank you.
Well, we'll talk again very soon. Have a great rest of your day with your interviews lined up back to back. You're a busy man.
Yep. Thank you so much.
See you later, Andrew. All right, well, my next guest is a psychologist, best-selling author, and sits on the task force of the Department of Defense. Please help me welcome Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes.
Eric called me and said, hey, what are your top 5 favorite Christian broadcasts? He asked, and I said, you got to get on ElijahStreams. You got to do it. Steve's great. You got to get on his show.
Dr. Jan, I'm missing you. There you are.
I thought I had another minute to get my bottle of water. It usually goes longer.
That might be a first, but I love it. You're making history, okay? All right, welcome back.
Usually. Happy
Welcome
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I want to open up and talk about the Epstein Files, of course, because that's all over everywhere. So let's start with, what do the Epstein Files, Arctic Frost, and the BBC scandals have to do with America's financial sovereignty?
The main theme for today is to understand that we have been conditioned to look at life in silos, to not connect the dots, to not even think that things could be remotely connected or related, and that helps to keep us blind. It helps to keep us with our head in the clouds and confused. And even when things don't make sense, that's the time to pay attention. It doesn't mean you have to figure it out. It means you kind of store it in the back of your mind and say, something isn't quite connecting, but it feels like it could connect or whatever. All right. So, Arctic Frost, which I have a problem with those senators who put themselves in the bill to get reimbursed, but we are in a Thanksgiving week, so we will stay in gratitude place. But I just wanted to make a footnote about that. I think it's very, very wrong. But Arctic Frost is how the Biden administration, the Biden's Department of Justice, investigated our senators, and actually I think the number got up to over 6,000 people that were somehow connected to MAGA, but in particular getting their phone records and their emails, and that just says a lot. But the BBC did very much what CNN had done on the Charlottesville, misquoted, misrepresented, mispresented aspects of Trump's speech, and now Epstein. So let's back up to understand when the Epstein file issue blew up.
Okay.
The first thing that's important to understand is that even though Patel, even though Bondi, Bongino, Trump said we want to expose the Epstein files, there's part of us that has to understand that what was available to them might have not been what they thought would have been available. So we cannot go into harsh and blaming. The other aspect is that Jeffrey Epstein is symbolic. He's symbolic because he's related to Executive Order 13913, which deals with human and child trafficking. And when the 2020 election results occurred, the way in which we saved our heart was to focus on Save the Children.
Yeah.
So that became very, very important. And the Epstein files are symbolic to that. The other component that is symbolic is justice needs to be served. I don't know about anyone else. I can only speak for myself. But when Roy Blunt walked out of the inauguration and there was someone from the military standing there, because of what we had been told, there were going to be arrests. I was waiting for the handcuffs to come out. And for 2 years, until the midterms, I was depressed and upset and waiting for more handcuffs to come out, more arrests to come out. We are beginning to understand why it's taking so long, but that doesn't change how our feelings are about those aspects. So now it's not only Epstein, it is wanting justice served. And we haven't been seeing enough justice served. We see Trump demanding that certain people are gone after. But when I have heard from people, and we all have a sense of impatience, we all do.
Yes.
And we all have to talk to ourselves, and we all have to say, okay, in God's time, not in my
Yes,
time,
yes.
but in God's time. That's
Yes.
what we have to say to ourselves, is that, look what just happened. The James Comey and Letitia James cases were dismissed without prejudice. That's really important, without prejudice. And the reason, quote unquote, it was dismissed according to the judge was that Trump had a social media rant. Okay, that's fine. And if you look into it more deeply, Lindsay Halliday, who was the attorney who had represented Trump in some of his lawfare, wasn't an official AG because they're only allowed to serve 120 days, and the one that had been got kicked out. So Lindsay Halliday was put in, and now people always want to find blame, so they're blaming Lindsay Halliday in a way. No. There's nothing wrong with testing the water, but pushing against the stream ends up where we are now. The good news is that they are not off the hook. And what was uncovered initially will only help them think about going forward. So now, tying this in to Epstein, I also want you to think about what was happening when kind of the whole thing blew up with being upset with Congress that there weren't files that were going to be released. At that point, a vote was coming up for the Genius Act. Also, Netanyahu was coming to the United States. Now, the Genius Act represents Trump leading the U.S. to financial sovereignty. And that is the underlying thing to all of this. Independent U.S. financial sovereignty.
Yes.
And so what upsets them the most, and now we have to go back to 1689 when William the Conqueror let the bankers and the goldsmiths in the city of London become a sovereign nation. Then the other sovereign nation is Vatican City. They became the bank. And then they needed a military. So what did they do? By 1781, the US became beholden to a debt to the City of London, the cabal, the deep state.
Wow.
When you say the City of London, it's also been called the Crown Corporation. Whatever you want to call it, it is the financial and trade power center, also connected to intelligence. They basically run intelligence. And back in 1689 through up to 1781, they controlled the monarchy as well. In fact, the way they got out King James II was that, his Italian name, it was Pope Innocent XIV, came from a very wealthy Italian banking family. That money was used to finance William of Orange and 20,000 soldiers to take over the British monarchy. And just after that, the bankers got control of the Bank of England, which then we hear about central banks. And that's all part of the cabal. It's like divisions. You know, IBM has a division in technology, in AI, in software. That's basically how the cabal exists with their financial. And, you know, the monarchy was never financially responsible at all. They indulged themselves, and the bankers really took advantage and control of that, and they operate behind the scenes. So now we have the Genius Act vote, the Epstein stuff blows up. Who is threatened? The bankers and the goldsmiths. Now, for people that aren't familiar with the City of London, if King Charles wants to go into the City of London, I mean, I could take a bus and go into the City of London. I can go to any restaurant. I can go to UBS, RBC. I can go into any of the banks, whatever. He has to get permission from the Lord Mayor. And the Lord Mayor is usually someone from one of the top law firms or one of the banks who is elected or chosen. And there is a ceremony for the installation of the Lord Mayor that is obviously not as big as a coronation for a king, but the formality and the significance is as equal. You can see bankers practically bowing at this, or when and the Lord Mayor wears, you know, that red cape with the white fur and has their own form of a crown, and all of that exists today. I have been at events, and that's de rigueur, as they say, normal, par for the course. And so now Epstein was not a blackmailer. He was a pawn to do the blackmailing. And I cannot confirm, this is my suspicion, kind of knowing human behavior, is that I think Ghislaine Maxwell was more Epstein's handler for her father and for British intelligence and Mossad, because we do have confirmation that Robert Maxwell was very much a double agent. And you don't have a father that connects you to those people and act as if there's nothing else going on. So now, how did Epstein rise at all? I mean, this is a young Jewish man, very intelligent, okay, who not only did he not graduate from university, but he didn't even go to all of the right schools to get all the right credentials. And who hires him to teach at the Dalton School? The Dalton School is the school for the elites in New York to send their kids. The power people, the politicians, the entertainers, and it's always had a liberal leaning. Who was the headmaster who hired Epstein? It was Bill Barr's father, our former Attorney General, Bill Barr's father, who had been a CIA agent. He was with the OSC, I believe it was. I end up turning letters around, but the precursor to the CIA.
Okay.
And so he was a spy. And then one of the fathers was the head of Bear Stearns. Now, keep in mind, Bear Stearns was the first financial institution in 2008 to go under, and it had been the biggest. But Epstein was brought in, and he was educated and groomed to manage money and hide people's money in the tax havens of the UK, Guernsey and Jersey. So now he is a master at that. But this is a young Jewish boy who doesn't have the credentials, who now has been put on the Council of Foreign Relations.
Wow.
When you look at who goes on the Council of Foreign Relations, it's like the best and the brightest and the most connected. And Rockefeller makes him a trustee of his university. I mean, you have to say what is really going on.
Yes.
Now, Alex Azar, when he was being groomed for a cabinet position, in 2008, he was the Florida Attorney General who prosecuted Epstein. And he explained to the 2016 transition team, because we were all abuzz about it back then, that the intelligence community had told Alex Azar, go light. We got our hands on him. Now, also, if he was doing such bad things, why did Ghislaine Maxwell get 20 years? Why did Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey, ask the judge to deny all FOIA requests for the files from the Ghislaine Maxwell case?
To hide
And
them.
all right, so we have to look at those things. And that's why I'm saying, don't treat things as isolated. Look at connecting the dots. Just because we can't see something, just because it isn't completely clear, doesn't mean we can't think it through and have very good suppositions.
Yes.
Suppositions is much different from assumptions. Assumptions are more projections. But we can make certain suppositions by asking the question, Ghislaine 20 years, Epstein only 8. And the other part is that, yes, he fed the information to the ultimate blackmailers because the intelligence community is so connected to the financial power brokers.
Yes.
Believe me, they go to shooting parties together, they lunch together, they vacation together. They're very incestuous. They are very connected, plotting all the time. So to think that in these files that we might get some great reveal. Here's the other part, is that some of it still needs to not be released because it could impact national security. It could, what if, because justice was just so important to us that we ended up having them arrest 2 or 3 people to make a name of it. Everything has to be disclosed in court.
Yep.
What damage would the disclosure of some of what might think to be unrelated, what problems would it cause? So really, where I don't agree with Trump, and I'm not sure why he keeps just saying it's a Democrat hoax, it really had its origins because of Epstein being connected to Robert Maxwell, to the intelligence community, and to the financial community, because that's where the control and the blackmail had been going on. So now there is a real sign, the Genius Act, U.S. sovereign, financial sovereignty.
Yes.
We can't control them. So now let's fast forward to this Ukraine deal.
Mm-hmm.
I just love how people are so critical, because the criticism is Steve Witkoff has no historical, no geographical, no cultural understanding of Russia or of the Ukraine. And Kirill Dmitriev, who was his partner in negotiating this possible ceasefire, was accused of just being a sovereign wealth management fund guy. But they got a deal. See, and that's Trump. Trump stopped 8 wars because he didn't use the typical diplomatic route.
Right. Yes.
Because they think, oh, well, this is the way we've always done it. And yes, there are predictions that it'll fall apart. And I love the fact that here are some of the key outcomes of it. One, the Ukraine was told, take the deal or no longer U.S. support. And the other part of it is Europe's now going to have to pay for it all. The U.S. is not, which has consistently been where Trump has been going. So one more time, he is threatening the financial, not sovereignty, because he wants us being sovereign, but the financial situation of the cabal, the deep state, the power brokers. And so they're going to have to create their own. And so the accusation is that the U.S. is, how can people trust it to be a reliable ally? Well, if ally is defined as when we create a problem and you come rescue us, well, that's just fine. Grow up, rest of the world, because Trump is not interested in having us do that. And that is another way of moving us to financial sovereignty. So the military industrial complex is not controlling us.
Yes.
And that is also why he's gone after the BBC. And that is also why the information on Arctic frost has come out. It's more steps in exposing that. Think of this like a big, fat Vidalia onion. And so you have to get the hard skin off, and then there's all that slime. And now we're going through the slime until we get to the next wall. And then Trump is breaking through that wall and then getting rid of all that slime.
Yes.
And that is the process. And if you think about it that way, that it helps me to be a bit more patient and understanding, and to be able to kind of hold things without needing to connect them or understand their complete relevance. It's okay if it just makes sense or it doesn't make sense, because it will make sense. Yeah. It will come to be. So this has been that challenge. Now, in very recent articles and op-eds, economists are absolutely in shock that the tariffs have been working, that prices did not go up. They expected inflation. They expected consumers to get gouged. And
Yes.
inflation is at 3%. And it's a shame that it's so difficult for people to accept that Trump is doing the right thing. And it's not like he's doing something that hadn't been done before. It just hadn't been done maybe for 100 years or more. But they can't accept it. Let me just give you another example of crazy mindset. So the liberals. Trump has now reduced tariffs on coffee, some other consumer goods, and I think one other thing. So the criticism was, well, look, he put it up. He had to reduce it. My take is that he listens to the people. And it's not like he has to go, oh, mea culpa, oh, I made a mistake. It's like, oh, well, that's not working for some people. So let's get it changed. Oh, that's not working for our farmers. Let's provide some temporary relief. And our politicians still think ideology is more important. And Trump is a transformational leader where our politicians are transactional. You know, should we handshake this deal? Let me do this bill. Give me more money. You know, it's hand to hand. And they are the least strategic thinking people who are in positions of power that I have ever encountered. Even a young business person, even an administrative assistant is more strategic in their thinking than our transactional politicians. And that is part of the issue that Trump is fighting against. But back to economists going, oh, Trump was right. But even when McKinley had pushed for tariffs, and you think about that, schools were paid for, roads were there, taxes didn't exist. And that is where Trump is hopefully trying. I mean, I've gone on and I haven't given you a chance to ask me anything.
No.
Kelsey. Financial Times is saying positive things about Trump, the economy, and the tariffs, and quoting different economists who actually admit, oh gosh, they won't say we got it wrong, but they'll say, well, we're surprised. We can't believe that this happened. And so those are all positive things at this time to really look at. Let's talk Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay.
Which is creating a bit of a brouhaha.
A big brouhaha.
The mistake that I think that she made, professional woman to professional woman, is she became a squawker as opposed to a problem solver. And she was the congressional floor and got thrown off of her.
We're having a little bit.
Squawked.
One second, Dr.
And
Jan, if you can hear me. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty where her sound is kind of breaking up and her picture is breaking up. We're very sorry for that. We'll have her come back in, and then that way, let's see if it's better if we kind of have her come back in. So we might kick her out real quick to have her come back in and see if the internet connection's a little bit better. I also want to ask her when she comes back on to join me about Glenn Beck had a program that I was listening to what talked about with Epstein in the bank. So when you make an account withdrawal over $10,000, they're supposed to flag it. There's supposed to be a flag on those type of withdrawals. And he was withdrawing tons and tons of money. He only got 5 flags on his account over, I think, 5 to 10 years. And when all of the Epstein files came out, all of a sudden they had 5,000 flags on his account with over $1 billion that was taken and put in different foreign banks. So even the big high up people, as Glenn said, we need to figure out who was protecting him and not flagging his account, because that's a federal, you have to do that. So it's a federal crime when you don't flag the account. So we talked about the corruption even within the banks that worked with him and how they weren't flagging him. And it's very interesting. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and I want to share with you one of our wonderful water well ads, which shows you when you help us here at Elijah Streams, this is where your donations are going. And this is the huge impact you have had on so many across Uganda. When we come back, I will ask Dr. Jan about the banks and the financial system. So we will be right back.
When our Elijah Streams team came to Uganda, they were undone. They kept saying, it's so much worse than you can imagine.
Back in the States, we just turned the tap on. They don't have that here. People are going to mud puddles. They're going to, swamps where they're sharing water with animals that are, defecating and doing everything imaginable in the water. And that's the water that they have to drink.
People are thirsty physically and spiritually. Some are still drinking from muddy holes just to survive. But every single time a new well goes in, something shifts. As clean water begins to flow, God starts breaking through hearts. People are meeting Jesus right there at the water wells. And it's more than water, it's transformation. Thank you so much for saying yes, because together, we're watching God bring life to the land and to the people.
Thank you, everyone, for bringing this wealth to this village in Uganda. We're so thankful. People are ecstatic. God bless.
Join us for an unforgettable journey to the Holy Land, the 2026 Israel Tour with ElijahStreams. Experience powerful worship with Robin Bullock and the 11th Hour Band. And be inspired by Steve and Doreen Shultz, Yvonne and Mina Attia, Mike and Lori Sally, and Michael Wilhelm. Steve Swanson will be leading us in music as we walk where Jesus walked. Worship at historic sites, and connect deeply with the land and its people. This is more than a tour. It's a spiritual encounter. Spots are limited, so register now at ElijahStreams.com/Israel26.
All right, we are back. We have Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes with us, and I'm praying that the internet connection's better. So, yes, we see you again. You're back live. Can you hear me? Just want to make sure.
I can hear you.
Okay. I think we have a little bit of a lag, so I'm going to let you continue on in sharing what you were talking about with Epstein and with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and just continue on.
Okay. Do you think we should just go to my picture so that take away from the streaming?
Yeah, we can do that. We can
in case because I've been having problems. Okay. All right. But so Marjorie Taylor Greene, some people are saying so she can run for president in 2028. I mean, we will have the worst offerings. I mean, Ted Cruz is thinking about running in 2028. If you want to understand, has a very good business head on her shoulders, and the points, many of the points that she has made during her time in office have been insightful.
Mhm.
But it's how she's gone about it that has been the problem. And I would recommend that you listen to her podcast with Tucker Carlson, because she and Tucker, there shouldn't be criticism of anyone that is taken as valid. We should take those comments to understand those people better. But it doesn't mean any of us have a right to make them right or wrong. Now, I agree with many of the points that Marjorie Taylor Greene has raised about our feckless elected officials. She's not wrong. But here's the problem. And it's not only her problem, it's the problem. You can take John Cornyn in Texas and why he is that there are some politicians who still think ideology matters to the voter. And it doesn't. I don't really care what your ideology is. Let you vote on a law that will make life more difficult or better for me.
Yeah.
But we have politicians that don't think about the end result, the outcome, the impact, or the benefit. And Marjorie Taylor Greene does not talk in terms of solutions. Now, honestly, when it's a battle between Trump and her, I don't read a lot about it because I don't like to take negativity in. I like to have the gist of it.
Yeah.
And as long as I can get the gist of it, I don't need those details. Why did she need to make the fight public? I wish I could ask her that question. And what is she trying to prove? Because she hasn't proven anything that even can help her constituents. And that is how we need to evaluate all of our current elected or those who wish to be elected officials. You know, John Cornyn in Texas is having a very bad time. Now, to his credit, he, as a senator, has created the most bills that have been passed. From that standpoint, as a legislator, he has been incredibly effective. The problems are that his supporters, constituents, who are strong Second Amendment, resent that he negotiated a little bit of a deal on the bump stock or a component. And it should have been his job to be able to say, I haven't betrayed you, but by agreeing in this negotiation to a few points, didn't I shut them up on gun control? But he can't even sell that. Now, Ken Paxton is 9 points ahead. So what has Cornyn come out? He's going to go after character assassination. You know, we are so tired of hearing that negativity. It's which politician is the new boy who cried wolf? Because they've been saying it for so long, and it hasn't done a thing, and they don't realize that we're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And so if Cornyn really wanted to save his career, because this is the third part of what has his constituents very displeased with, is that he believed Trump caused the insurrection. If, and only if he's woken up, because it has to be sincere. He has to be able to say to his constituents, I realized that I was wrong to accuse Trump of that. I realized that I was wrong to think that the 2020 election wasn't stolen. And I want to be able to explain to you why, in this age of tribalism and not patriotism, that I made an agreement with the Democrats. Because what did it do? It shut them up on the issue. And has it impacted us who care about gun control in any negative way? No. But they don't speak like humans. They don't admit their mistakes.
Yeah,
and that is one of the other reasons they are terribly intimidated by Donald Trump. You know, I've been doing a long-term study on Trump derangement syndrome, but not in general, but in a certain type of man. And that type of man usually has not fully succeeded in business, is too caught up with playing the game or putting the mask on.
Interesting.
Is still trying to belong. And so it is those aspects of Trump's behavior that intimidates them, because it makes them look at their own fears of needing to belong, wanting to approval, wanting to have the accoutrement of success. And they take Trump not as the man who is his own person, but they take Trump as someone who behaves in a way that they partially would really like the freedom to behave that way, but they're either intimidated or scared. And so therefore they have to condemn him. They have to make him wrong.
Said perfectly from a psychologist viewpoint. Perfect diagnosis of that, Dr. Jan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you know, we started. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we started out talking about how, you know, you thought things were going to happen a lot quicker than they have. And you're like, I'm waiting for these arrests and I'm waiting. But now we're seeing there's just so many levels and so many tiers to people involved. There's so many connections, because you said it's all connected. It's always all been connected. And I was telling the audience when you were gone for a quick second about how I heard Glenn Beck talk about how the bank that Epstein used, federally, they're supposed to report when someone is taking out over $10,000 and putting it somewhere, an offshore account. And they only had 5 instances where Epstein did that, and only a couple $1 million until all the files were threatened to be released. And then the bank had over 5,000 instances with over $1 billion. So Glenn Beck was talking about the call for everyone within that bank, from the CEO all the way down, who was just waving when he would pull out over 10 grand and was not reporting it. He said it's a federal crime. We need to know all those people involved in that as well. And I just think it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So where do you, or what's the time frame you feel like all of this is going to take to see, justice really come?
Well, I wish I had the answer to that. And here's the problem with life, is that just when you think you've discovered the kernel of it, and then you discover there are 15 more things. Or when I have been on a team that has helped a company come out of bankruptcy. Just because they file for bankruptcy, there are so many procedures, there are so many things to undo, and there are so many things to put in place. Yeah. So I like to look at what are the most important priorities right now.
Okay.
And how are they working on those priorities, and what progress are they making? Because if they're dealing with the priorities, and that is the particular movement going forward. Okay. So Congress voted on releasing the Epstein Files. That's one.
Okay.
Trump's tariffs look likely to stay in place because people are finally realizing, oh, it's working. So when the naysayers see that it's working, they're going to want to get on board. So then you start to get momentum. There, in the technology world, there is a curve, and we all know the bell curve. And the first 3% are the innovators. And then the 3% are added on with the 10%, which are the innovators. So, sorry, I said that twice, but the instigators and the innovators.
Okay.
So the instigators, the 3%, they're stirring things up, they're seeing things, and they connect with the innovators, and then it starts moving forward. And the early adopters are only in about the 30% range. And then it takes a long time for the late adopters to come.
Yeah.
And then what we have is another 10, 12% that we call the laggards. And so they are. They don't come on board. And if you think about,
I'm just laughing because I know some of those laggers.
And if you think about just about any kind of movement from that perspective, yes. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a good instigator. But who are the innovators who have taken what she said and been able to make it work to get the early adopters on board?
Yeah.
Because then when you think about it, you've got about 45% of whatever your target group is that is moving things forward. Now, with that bell curve, the 32%, you got to work to get them on. But then you've got your late adopters, because they need to see that, yes, it works, because they're usually those naysayers, the yes butters, the let's find everything wrong. And the laggards are the ones that are absolutely too scared to take any risks. Even when I have chaired volunteer committees and I've had naysayers, and people have asked me, what should we do? And I've said, they'll either get on board or they won't. And when they won't get on board, they'll leave us. And so I've never tried to do anything, especially if they're volunteers. I don't have any control over them. They either can join or not. But then if you think about in an organization and they get paid and they're putting up obstacles to prevent things from happening, those are the ones we have to go after and deal with. So I think I think I'm out of steam. I'll just take a quick look at my notes. But I think I've covered everything. Yeah,
Can you
I think I
can you
have.
share on excuse me. I have a little cold trying to get in here, so I appreciate everyone's prayers watching. My son started preschool, so can you touch on
Oh,
Mamdani in New York before we close?
oh, thank you. Yes, yes, I didn't cover the election. Okay. Mamdani is about what our politicians are missing, and it's called affordability. It's not free stuff. It's interpreted as you're going to make my daily life easier or better or not as difficult, or you're going to relieve me of some things. So, but more importantly, what really struck me, John Fetterman was on The View, and I don't really know those women's names, but there's one with long black, brownish hair and curly or whatever. And she was interviewing him, and she was upset with him because he was one of the 8 Democrats that voted to end the shutdown. And he was trying to explain to her that he really cared about the constituents he represents and that they needed to work together to move forward. And she shrieked at him and said, with the wins in New Jersey and Virginia and Mamdani, don't you just see how we are going to take them in the midterms? You know, how someone could think a blue state and a purplish blue state represents the rest of the country and the other states, and that has saved the Democrats from how they've totally screwed themselves. I don't get it. But that is the misconceptions that some people are making, including Ted Cruz went into panic mode over it. And the more I listened to Ted Cruz with Tucker Carlson, now here's why I recommend you listen to that podcast. Ted Cruz is the most manipulative, snively, underhanded communicator. And if I were to do a workshop, I would use that. And you need to see how well Tucker deals with him. Because we all get those little digs from people and we kind of think, how do I respond? Take that as a tutorial of you're not listening fully for the content because the content's fine, but you're sitting back and you're looking at what Ted Cruz says, how he says it, and how Tucker responds. Each time Ted Cruz tries to either stick a knife in or get a put down in or a jab, and then this is the best part, is that then Ted Cruz does his thing and go, oh, well, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. No, that wasn't what I was saying. So crazy making, gaslighting,
Yes.
it gives you an understanding better than I could do a course in it. Absolutely.
Well, it's better to watch because you can analyze it as you watch. Like you said, you can see the gaslighting. And once you recognize it, you can't unsee it.
Right. And I don't even watch it. Just listen to it.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really important that because we live with people like that every single day. every single day. And so if you're just listening and you're sitting back, and then you can go, oh, I didn't catch that. And you can rewind. Oh, that was very interesting how Tucker responded.
Yeah.
And you can watch it as well. I've literally listened to it twice and watched it once because I am going to do a workshop using it.
Yeah, that's smart. It's perfect because it's showing all the wrong things and how to handle it.
Exactly. And, I could talk about things conceptually, but when it is in the moment that you see or hear the interaction between two people, that is when you go, oh my gosh. And then every time you caught yourself or found yourself in that kind of situation, it provides clarity. And honestly, it's helped me. There's someone peripherally in my life who really likes to jump all over me and take out certain animosity just when there's a bad mood going on. It's not me. But still, when that energy comes at you, it does make you stutter. And so sometimes what I do is I think, oh, how did Tucker handle it? Okay, he was just calm. I can be calm. Prima ballerinas learned to become prima ballerinas by standing behind a prima ballerina and doing everything that prima ballerina was doing. Sometimes when you don't have the behavior or the ability, there's a role model. Try it out. And there's your inspiration to figure out how to do something differently.
Yes. That's such a good piece of advice to end on, especially as we're going into spending time with our families for Thanksgiving. That's a great piece of knowledge to have, just to know, okay, it's okay to just sit back and just listen and not quickly respond, because there will definitely be conversations had, I'm sure, over the next couple days where people will have to use wisdom in how they talk to their families. So, Dr. Jan, you are such a pleasure to have on the show. You have incredible insight, and I love you. Obviously, you're a psychologist, but it's just it's so insightful what you share. Not only the facts, but then also how you share how to handle things to come, what we need to focus on one step at a time. It can be your advice can be placed in so many different places of our life as outside of politics, so good. How can people continue to follow you and connect with you when you're on different platforms, different shows? What are your main channels?
My main channel is Biz Shrink, capital B-I-Z _ capital S-H-R-I-N-K. There are 12 to 15 fake accounts. There's no numbers. There's only one _, no dashes or anything. And I'm finally going to get back to writing. So you can find me at drjan.substack.com. And let me just close on, if anyone throws you a dig at the Thanksgiving table, just ask them to repeat themselves. Say, I didn't catch that. That will calm everything down. And even if you don't like what you hear, say, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat that? And it won't happen. It's the way to have control over yourself without needing to engage. And there will be bits of that will happen. And it's not about you. Just remember, it's not about you when it's directed at you. Yes. And gratitude, even as a mantra, to say the word over and over again, will be your saving grace if there's animosity around. So I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And now you've got a preschooler. That was when I started to go
Yes.
back on antibiotics.
Yes. Oh, I do. I have immune support stuff and everything. But I can't not just kiss him all the time and hug
Right,
him all the time. He's so precious. Like, even if he, doesn't feel well, I'm there wiping his nose and I'm there kissing him and singing him. So,
right.
excuse me for my little bit of a cough. Thank you for all of your patience as we've had little bit of technical difficulties throughout the episode. And I just want again thank Dr. Jan for shining light on the places that have been hidden in the shadows. We appreciate her so much for that. And please come and join the show tomorrow. Barry Wunsch is joining me, and he has a very exciting update on something with his family he's going to share with us. So some personal things, and then also he's going to talk a lot about Canada, what's going on within Canada, how it ties into America. Going to be a great show tomorrow. We will see you then. We love you all so very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.